Hello and welcome back. It is here, the latest digital multimeter from Siglent. It is the SDM4065A. It is of course a follow-up of the SDM3065X, but this time it has a bigger screen. It has 2.2 million counts and it has a touchscreen. What I like to do is take my 3065, put them together. Let's have a look at the changes. Of course, we're gonna do a walkthrough to all the features that it has. And then I like to dive deeper into the specifications. I want to do a temperature stability test because we know the warm-up of the 3065 was a bit longer than specified, so I like to know what it does here. And then we can have a look at the pricing, where it is in the spectrum compared to some of the other popular multimeters. But first we have a closer look. Wow, look at this. It has the new color scheme from Siglent. They use this also in the newer series of the oscilloscope. It is dark grayish. It's a big display. It's 5 inches, 800 by 600. You can switch on a click if you like, but I don't have that. The functions we can easily switch like this, and the touch is very sensitive. The layout, I think it's very clear. You have a home button to always go back, but you can also push it in the touchscreen. In the home you have your basic functions that you need or that you want, like the function, the ranging, the scan speed. I think on 10 PLC it's most accurate, of course, or higher. Auto zero, relative mode, even you can switch the input from 10 meg to 10 gig, pretty nice. Then we go to the menu with utilities, where we can do the file system and all the settings. We have a mat function where we have the statistics. If we switch that on, we have averages and everything. Display function, you can switch here what you want: bar, trend, histogram. Pretty neat features. Another nice thing, it's a nice feature, is no matter how fast the scans are, you always have your 6.5 digits here, even on the PLC with 0.001. What is newer is here also you have a help function, so you know exactly which connectors you need to use. Instead of the touchscreen you can also use the dial. I'm dialing now through the options and it just goes here, and you can also push the dial, or you can walk like this. Here we have some trigger options: run, stop, single, acquire function. To also switch. What I also like is there is a screen dump option. If you put a memory stick in, it will store it firstly on the memory stick. If you don't, like I have now, then it just stores it on the local storage. If you want to set the date, you can go through the menu, but you can also just push on the date option. Also for the network settings, if you like to change something with the network, you can go through the utility and system settings, or you just put on the network icon, and then you also have everything. So everything is very fastly available. Here we have the both of them. Not only they change the color, the display also, the digits are larger. It's better to read, I think. The menu, sort of, they did the same, but instead using buttons. We have the touchscreen, I like that. Also the rubber bumper is different. They changed this already a few times, because I also have a picture of an older Siglent device. But with this rubber here, this bumper, it looks a little bit, the whole design by the way, a little bit like a Keatley. The bumper is different, but still they use the same. I have here the notches, and I have some holes here. It almost fits. It is just slightly different. That's a pity. We could have done that same. Let's have a look at the side. The new one is slightly deeper. They both have the arm. Well, I took my arm out. Both have a ventilator. From the back they look pretty similar. This one is a little bit more shiny, newer. We have here the two BNCs, the LAN port, a USB port, but we see an extra USB port here. I'm not sure it's storage, maybe it's for options. Both have the scanner cards option installed, and that is a special meter, so you really need to have the SE to add this. But you can put there a GPIB, and maybe this USB can also be used for a USB option GPIB, because here you cannot use the GPIB and the scanner card at the same time because you only have one slot. So maybe, I don't know, but it could be a nice option. We can also have a look if the scanner cards are actually the same, because that could be, because I think it was the 1016 if I remember correct, and that could be the same. So then they could be interchangeable, but again, your mainboard needs to be prepared to be able to run the scanner card even though it does fit. So both the old and the new version have 2.2 million counts, which is a lot. So let me put this to 1 volt verge. And most of the other multimeters have 1.2, and why is that? Well, most multimeters have 0 to 10 volts, 0 to 1 volt, etc. And with the 20% overrange you have 1.2 million. This one has 0 to 20 volts and 0 to 2 volts, etc. And then you can go up to 2 point. Look at this here. We still have all the digits, and then over 1.2 volts you lose one digit like you do now here. Well, most of the options are the same. So if I now go to menu, as I display number and I want to bar, well, the same is here, but I need to do second function here, number, bar, and we see it is sort of the same. We can change a little bit the scale, so if you're used to work with the old model, you will absolutely find your way around this one. Here I think I need to push trend charge, and here, and if I go now down, we can see here that the line goes down, and now it's nice, it has a big display, because you really have a good view. And the lines are a little bit grayer, so here it's very white. And then of course we have the histogram. So on the histogram also, but it's easy now with this one to go back and then say, okay, I want to have more readings because it fills up quicker. That looks pretty cool. You can see that the lines are very thin and it responds very fast. Here I need to think again. I don't really have a home button here, but maybe I need to click this one. Yeah, and then I can also do faster PLCs here. It will also scan faster. In this meter we can better see there is some sort of spread of the signal, while here it thinks it is really stuck. So this one measures less faster, and we see also because of the faster PLC we have here less digits, and that is exactly the reason why we see more here. Because if I go here and I do 10 PLCs here, clear readings, you could also see almost 1 bar, but when we go faster you get a higher error. And with a higher error you get more spreads. And the faster you go, the more spread you will have because your error becomes bigger. You can solve that by not showing these extra digits and just going back here to a 3.5 multimeter, and then it seems indeed the signal is stuck. But in the end it is not. So going back to numbers, I connected the DMM check plus right here. It's close to 5 volts. The meters are both warming up, so we see a little difference here. It will stabilize later. According to the papers, this one needs 90 minutes. This one also according to the specs, but in practice test, or something is wrong with mine, but it takes 4 hours. So I really want to see if this one also complies to that. So, but that's why we see a small difference. They are both heating, but they also say both meters are 35 ppm, so that means at 1 volt we can have a difference in 35 microvolts, but they say, if you read better, that is only at 10 PLC. 10 PLC on 50 Hz here is then 5 scans a second, so if we go faster, 1 PLC, that would be 50 scans per second. We can still do that here, we can do that here, but then already there it's not 35 ppm anymore, and we can see already that the values slightly change because you get a higher error in your measurement. And if we go even faster, like 0.5, here they decide, okay, because of the error we show less digit, but here they said no, let's just show the digit because maybe that's interesting to see. And we can see here also that why some brands will choose to show less digits instead of showing everything, because the error becomes a lot bigger. Because if we go back to 10, we see it's very close to 5, even below. If we go to 1, we see this, and the error becomes bigger and bigger. And if we go very fast, we can see the error. We can see it jumping, and we can see this very good in the histogram. But in this meter, they choose to just show less digits and less digits. So it's what you choose. Do you want to see this or you want to see this? I actually like that I did this because this is actually what is happening. Also switching the impedance. Now we are, instead of 10 meg, we are on 5, of course, because we have both the meters running on it. We can see that the value goes a little bit up, so the load you will notice here. But if I now go even, here we go. Now it's exactly 5 volt. This has been calibrated by the Check Plus against a 7.5 multimeter. So yeah, on 10 gig, look at this, spot on. So this was DC voltage, but on AC we have also dual display, which is quite interesting. So let me switch it to AC here. This is also around 5 volt. We can do some filtering here. We can do filtering above 20 Hz, above 200 Hz, or above 3 Hz. This is probably to take your DC component off. Let me try to get the dual display so we can read dual function, and we want frequency, and we want it on. Done. And then we have here the frequency in the bottom. It is quite small. I don't understand why they didn't make it a bit bigger, because there is a lot of space left, but maybe these spots are reserved for something else. But here we have the frequency. It is a 100 Hz, and if I switch over, I can get it to 10K here. There we have it, 10K. So dual display function also works. If you like to see it bigger because you think, yeah, it's indeed quite small, in the dual display function you can just swap it, and then you have the frequency big and the voltage small. We can do some AC current or DC current. Let's do DC current first. Here we have it. I would say this is 1 milli. And again, we have the filters. We can set it as we want, or we want again the dual function with the frequency. Okay, I was expecting to be able, when you are in AC current, to set the frequency, but it is all gray. I can only do voltages, so we can't see the frequency of the AC current. That is a pity. I would have expected that. Of course, it can do resistance. Let's see the 2-wire here. This is pretty accurate. 1K I think I have here. Yes, it doesn't look bad. I didn't even zero it out. So let's do that. No problems with this one. It can do, let me see, caps we have also. (103). This was correct, by the way. I have a calibration sheet from the Check Plus. So we can do caps. What else? We have continuity, I think. Is that fast? Yes, quite fast. I was just going to test on what resistance the continuity would beep. I notice here I can set the buzzer on and off. You can even set the volume of the buzzer, so if your lap is a little bit loud, then the beep is louder or middle or soft. I like the middle, but I see something else, and that is pretty interesting. There is a threshold setting, so it is now set to 10 ohms, but if you want to, usually it's 50, 60 I think, you can set also 50 ohms. They could have also put a notification that it was actually, instead of beeping, because now I switch it on. It starts beeping, but I don't see anything on the screen. So if your buzzer is off, you have no idea. But I think this is amazing that you can set your threshold. I've not seen this before. If we worry about 35 ppm, 35 microvolts, and we are well below. Also, this is a demo model. It has traveled the world already to all kinds of fairs. This is a borough from Siglent, so I'm not sure if they checked the calibration or not, but this is well within. Okay, now I like to do a temperature stability test, and my lab is not ideal, I know. It is now very coincidentally 23 degrees, but I did the stability test already a few days ago, and it started at 21 I think, and we ended up close to 25 midway the test. I needed to open up a little bit my window, so I have a little temperature drop there, but I think that is actually a good test. Why? Because my lab is not ideal. I do not have air conditioned. It's not always 23 degrees now. It's already 23.1, and I don't think any home lab has. According to the specifications, it needs 90 minutes. I'm also including in the test the GWN stack here, the GDM4061. It is about the same price range, also 35 ppm. And this one is 60 minutes heat up. And of course I have here the Keithley, but that's almost twice the price of this one. It's 25 ppm. His heat up time, according to the specifications, only half an hour. This one, the old Siglent, the SDM4065X, is also in the papers, about 90 minutes. Practice is really 3 to even 4 hours, and other people also have confirmed that. So I like to see. It looked quite the same on the back. Did they have another mainboard? Is the temperature better under control as this one? Here is my test. So the results of the test. Here we have the temperature in the room. In the bottom here we have the minutes. I did it only 2 hours. So we can see here the other Siglent is still trying to stabilize. This one takes a longer time. Here we have the temperature in the lab, which was rising. Here this differs actually almost to 22, I think it was like this. But what I did, I moved my temperature meter, so I sabotaged my own test because I was afraid that the exit air of one of the multimeters was blowing on the temperature meter. And I opened the windows to try to get the room under control because I didn't want to go above 25. So I flattened this a little bit, but in the end the meters didn't respond too much. So this is the old Siglent here. Then we have here the Keithley. Well, the Keithley is twice the price, so you would expect them also to be a little bit better. And here you can see it is even stable around 10-15 minutes maybe, which is great. Then I tested also the GWN stack, and we see that it was also more or less the same, 10 minutes. You can see it is wobbling a little bit, and of course because of the temperature change in the room here, but it is more or less flat, then the Siglent, is it going to be like this, like the old Siglent, or is it going to be like this? Well, happy to announce it is good, and it doesn't even need 90 minutes. In my lab here, it was already stable around 30 minutes, which is a huge improvement to the 3065, if I'm honest. So well done on this. So we are on the computer, so let's have a look also at the web interface. I just click it into the network. We can see that the cross in the top is gone. I click on the network icon and you can see the network address, so log into that. So I open the browser, just type in the IP number, and here we are. That worked fast. I see it's also LXI compatible. I am not exactly sure what it is, but I don't know if it runs in parallel over the Ethernet or it's a layer on top of the VISA, but all the newer equipment have this LXI. While we see the information screen, we can change. It is now on automatic DHCP, but if I like to have a fixed address, so I know every time on what address it is available, then I can use that. We even have instrument control. Oh, I left it on the screen of the network, but if I go back, it runs quite fast. That is great. I think it works exactly the same as in the buttons. Yeah, oh cool. Oh, we want to change the PLCs. Let's change the PLCs. Cool. And we can send our SCPI commands directly in the web interface, so we don't need any other connectors for that. Let's have a look at the pricing. If I'm informed well, it will be in the Netherlands just below 1100 euros, and that is a very nice price. They dropped the price a little bit of the 3065, but I think it's worth what you get because the heat up time is a lot better. If we look here at the maximum samples per second, it goes from 10,000 to 50,000. Also the recordings that you can do is 2 million. Here it was 10k. Also, if we look at the maximum PLCs, how many it can do in a cycle, it is also faster here. And the maximum PLCs, or the minimum, what you can do to keep your 6.5 digit is also a lot higher here. And we could see that because the other one was just minimizing the amount of digits. Connectors in the front, both USB, LAN. The rest is more or less the same. And then the competitors, what is around for that price? Well, I quickly look, and well, of course, first with the two multimeters I have here. We have the GW Instack here. It is very closely to the same price, but you get here more counts, a bigger display, you get touchscreen, more samples per second. So it is quite good. The graphical options are more or less the same. Of course, it looks a little bit like the famous Keithley, but the Keithley is a lot more expensive and also has less counts. The display is more or less the same. The Keithley does have extra, the front and the back, and well, it samples faster, but you pay for that because it is a lot more expensive. Then we have the two key sides here, but they are also much higher. So I think they placed it in a very nice position, and especially what I have seen now, what it can do. Wow, that was it, the Siglent 4065A. I think they did a great job. They absolutely fixed the temperature problem. It's not 90 minutes, but it was already stable in 30 minutes, which I like because as a hobbyist, if I can even wait 10 minutes, that is already a huge thing because I switch it on and I want to use it immediately. They solved it. So technically, I think they learned a lot from the older version, and the things it was lacking, they just did it better in this one. The temperature solved, the faster scan solved. I like they added the touchscreen, the bigger display, very good. When we look at price, yes, you pay a little bit more than the 3065X, but it is also better. And also this one probably they still need to sell. But if we look at the competitors, yes, the Keithley, it looks like the Keithley, it is 1.5, almost twice as much. The Keysights is the same story, so they placed it very smart. So that could make the competition a little bit nervous, but that is good for us as customers. Oh, and I promised to give you a look at the scanner cards. They indeed seem exactly the same. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time.